This picture was never meant for the public to see. The vivid strength faded as her trademark smile disappeared. At her most terrified moment, Kelly Ripa is seated outside an intensive care unit, convinced she is about to lose Mark Consuelos, her lifelong partner. They are, to many of us, the sweetest couple on television. Their love story feels like a fairy tale. Their bond has made them a relationship symbol for nearly 30 years. But what if we told you that their unshakable love was once pushed to the edge in a terrifying situation? A moment when their iconic connection was nearly destroyed by an invisible threat that endangers millions. The story isn't about a breakup. It centers on a collapse, an unexpected medical emergency, and that crucial night when Kelly made a private vow to herself. The promise didn't just save Mark's life, it changed everything about their future. Anyone who has ever looked at their partner and silently wondered, "What would I do if I lost you?" will feel the weight of this moment. For more than 25 years, fans have adored Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. They built an empire through humor, love, and a partnership that defied typical Hollywood expectations. Social media highlights, glamorous red carpet looks, and cheerful morning show banter all showcased a life built with joy and devotion. For many, finding a soulmate and building a beautiful life together well into your 50s and 60s is a dream come true. They made partnership seem exciting and effortless. But the most important truth about committed love is this: the strongest, most beautiful trees grow deep, hidden roots, and the storms they survive are often invisible to the world. The most powerful storm Kelly and Mark ever faced wasn't a career setback or a public controversy. It began with a single desperate phone call, one that instantly shattered the golden image and replaced it with the cold, sterile reality of a hospital. Mark started the day thinking he had mild indigestion, just an ordinary Tuesday. He headed out to work, but soon found himself struggling to breathe, his chest tightening. He chalked it up to stress, exhaustion, or something he ate. At this stage in life, minor discomforts seem normal, easy to ignore. But this wasn't minor. It was a sudden heart attack, a brutal reminder of how fragile life can be. No spouse ever wants to receive the call Kelly did. The frantic race to the hospital, the chaos of emergency doctors, and the sound of machines overwhelmed everything. In a heartbeat, the bright world of red carpets and morning show laughter disappeared. Instead, harsh hospital lights and life support machines took over. Normally strong and vibrant, Mark Consuelos was suddenly helpless, his life hanging in the balance. Kelly, always composed and confident in front of millions, now sat gripping his cold hand, watching the numbers on a monitor dictate her future. For the first time, she had to face the terrifying thought of living without him. But as she listened to his strained breathing, something unexpected happened. Through the darkness, clarity appeared. In that moment, she made a vow, to him and to herself, one that would permanently shift the way they lived. A vow not just to save his life, but to rebuild their lives with purpose.
The night dragged endlessly. The ICU was silent except for blinking monitors and the quiet panic inside every loved one keeping watch. Kelly sat there remembering everything. Not the fame, but the ordinary magic. Morning coffees in their kitchen, raising their kids, reading together in peaceful silence. She realized how much they had postponed happiness. They had saved dreams for someday. Someday we'll travel the world. Someday we'll slow down. Someday we'll sit for hours and talk about nothing. Someday. But someday never comes unless you choose it. So in the middle of the night, Kelly leaned close to Mark and whispered her vow. Whether he survived or not, she would never return to their old way of living. She would build a new life, one centered entirely on their joy, their time, their connection. No work obligations, no endless schedules, no sacrifices of their happiness. It was a vow to stop delaying life. But would Mark remember? And if he did, would a strong, proud man like him embrace such a radical change? After a long and grueling fight, Mark survived. Recovery was slow and humbling. He had to accept help, let go of old defenses, and rely on Kelly more than ever. But that vulnerability created something remarkable, a deeper, freer, more honest relationship than anything they had known. When Kelly told him about her ICU promise, he didn't resist. Facing death had changed him too. He no longer wanted the frantic pace of their old life. Everyone around them, friends, family, fans, was stunned when they quietly began stepping back. They turned down major deals that would separate them. They redesigned their schedule around each other. They reshaped their entire world, not for fame, but for longevity and peace. They traded a little more spotlight for a lot more time together. But then came a new challenge, their children. Their three biggest accomplishments were now grown, thriving, and living far from New York. Many couples fall apart in this stage. With no children to fill the silence, it's easy to look at your spouse and wonder what's left in common. Combined with a health scare, it could have been the final blow. But Kelly and Mark refused to let emptiness divide them. Instead, they embraced it. They chose each other all over again. They traveled. They created small passion projects. They dated like teenagers. The ICU crisis stripped away everything unnecessary and left only intentional, chosen love. Newspapers everywhere covered their surprising next step, buying a home thousands of miles from Hollywood, in a place deeply tied to their early romance. People were stunned when Kelly and Mark purchased their Italian home, not a getaway, but a permanent life
born
shift.
in that ICU transformed into their new reality: joy, connection, and protecting the moments that truly matter. They wandered Italian streets, hand in hand, rediscovering the early magic of their relationship. It wasn't a retirement, it was a rebirth. Instead of shaping their lives around TV schedules and public appearances, they shaped it around sunsets, slow meals, and uninterrupted time together. They weren't saying goodbye, not to life, not to their careers. They were saying goodbye to fear, goodbye to constant scrutiny, goodbye to rushing through existence. Their story is proof that even after decades together, even after a crisis, you can choose love again. You can start over. You can build something new. So what happens after a promise is kept, after the storm clears? For Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, the answer is simple: a new rhythm, a slower, intentional life in Italy, the life that began the moment Kelly whispered that vow in the ICU. The chaos of New York, production deadlines, live broadcasts, endless noise, has been replaced by quiet mornings, espresso on the terrace, walks to the market, and distant church bells. For the first time, they are truly unplugged. This is the life Kelly envisioned that night, a life built on conversations, dreams, and shared purpose rather than logistics and obligations, a life truly lived. And those close to them say you can feel the transformation. They aren't just a couple anymore. They are a team, united by a second chance.